Welcome back, everyone, to Inside the Pylon, a Midwest college football podcast. Oh, did he block that? No, he didn't. Maybe he did. No, he got it off. I'm watching football again. On this glorious Thursday evening, a nice, warm, balmy night up here in Michigan, joined as always by Clinton Boring. My name is Ryan Satkoviak. It is week 3. Clinton, we are starting, I can't even say getting into the nitty-gritty of the schedule because we got some booty games this weekend, but we're back here for some more picks. I'm excited for this episode. As always, I love the pick shows because it's fun. It's exciting. It's something to talk about. How are you doing this evening, sir?
I'm good, man. I had another Thursday off as the mother-in-law continues to recover from the total hip, so hung out with the boys. I'm a little exhausted. We got a special ice cream treat today that upset all 3 of our stomachs, so that turned out well. But everybody, the boys are in bed, and I'm good. I'm not having a beer tonight because of the stomach and just rolling water. But as you said, I love the Pick'em show. We come through every week. It's really exciting. Not a lot of top-level games this week in the Big Ten, or spacing out even with – we're not even getting max goals this week.
No, we just got straight FCS.
So it's we'll see. Might be a lackluster week in the Big Ten outside of the top 3 games.
Listen, man, the bad weekends are always the exciting ones, as we saw last weekend. You get some nonsensical stuff happening that doesn't make a lot of sense. So, as always, it should be exciting. We are once again live on the YouTube show. You can find us live Sunday, Monday, and Thursday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern Time as we go live for these podcast episodes. You can find us on the YouTube stream at ITPCFB. Make sure you subscribe to the show there so you can get notified whenever one of these videos drops. I don't know if you get notified when we go live, but we'll post that on Twitter, also at ITPCFB. Follow us on Twitter where you can interact with the show, ask questions, all that fun stuff. And always, as always, if you prefer to listen to us in your podcast stream the following morning, you can find us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever else you get your podcast. Make sure you drop a star review and a rating if you feel so inclined, as it helps us grow the show, lets people know about us and what we're doing here. And we're always open to suggestions. Any questions you have, anything you'd like to see more of, less of, we are all ears. This week, Clinton. No, I don't think we have any ranked matchups. I didn't write rankings down on this. I don't think we do because Wisconsin is not ranked. I don't think Washington State is ranked. Washington,
the only ranked versus ranked matchup this week is BC's ranked now. So BC, Missouri, and then is it Kansas State and Arizona?
Oh yeah, and that's tomorrow night. That's tomorrow night. Matchup.
Yeah, funny thing about that, when I texted you that today, I did not catch that till I listened to the Joel Klatt show that because this game was scheduled in advance, it's not a Big 12 game. So that seems a bit odd. So losing this game doesn't really hurt you that bad as far as the conference goes.
I also heard that this week. I don't remember what show I was listening to, but I don't think I realized that when we were doing our our playoff picks in the off season. Because I just was looking through and I'm like, oh, they got to play each other in Big 12 play. And as it turns out, they don't. They just play each other.
Depending on how long Cam Rising's out, our nice Utah pick might go to crap.
Well, it's like the old, was it last year, 2 years ago? The last 2 years, 2 of the last 3 years that UNC and Wake played a non-conference game. That was kind of weird too.
I think so.
I don't know. I don't understand football scheduling sometimes. But this evening we are going through the week 3 picks in the Big Ten here. Hold on. Picks of the week. The dramatic deep sea music. Last week, we were both okay. I was better than you because I'm better than you, Clinton, and I know it. I was 10-5-1 on the week. No, my college football team is booty cheeks, and we will talk about that here in a little bit. I was 10-5-1 last week. My lock of the week once again hit. That was Texas -7 against Michigan. On the season, I am 18-15-2. Clinton was 9-6-1 last week. His lock of the week for the second time failed. He had Iowa -3 over Iowa State. For the season, Clinton is 16, 17, and 2. So he will look to make up some ground as we have less games to pick this week than last week. Only 13 on the docket as we're
bye weeks.
Bye weeks. We got 1-2 cross-pollination matchups here with Notre Dame, Purdue, and then Indiana, UCLA. So a little less volume for us this week. So the stakes rise as the overall volume decreases. So we're going to do this a little bit differently tonight. We're going to, instead of kind of going in chronological order like we did the last 2 weeks, we're going to go bigger games of the week first, talk a little bit more extensively about those. Just we kind of went kind of quick last week, and that didn't sit well with me.
Yeah, we went 37 minutes and we were done.
It's not like us. We're normally talkers. Talkers.
Part of that was just because we spent a while on the first episode, and then we recorded them back to back because we were
that's
out
true.
last Thursday. So
that's
I
also
think we put in over 2 hours of work. So I think we were a little bit gassed.
I was pretty pooped then too. So opening things up for us here, we have one of the headliners of the weekend, 12 p.m. on Fox. Alabama traveling north of the Mason-Dixon line for the first time in God knows how long. A 16-point favorite on Wisconsin, over/under set at 50.5. I looked at these numbers yesterday, so I know a couple of these have moved, but these are the numbers that we're picking at here. Last week, Alabama really had their hands full for about 3.5 quarters with South Florida on the road, and then they put their injured starting right tackle back in the game and cranked off 4 touchdowns in a span of about 6.5 minutes and almost covered that spread real quick there. Wisconsin, on the other hand, has struggled moving the ball so far against a Western Michigan team that got more or less eviscerated by Ohio State last week, and then an FCS South Dakota team. So as we're looking at this matchup here, Clinton, obviously big time home field advantage for the Badgers. Probably not as much as it would have been as that night, and I'm kind of sad that this isn't a night game because I bet that atmosphere would have been kick-ass. There was a lot of Nebraska was getting a lot of flowers for their performance on and off the field last weekend against Colorado. I think Camp Randall would have rivaled it this weekend for the Badgers. So I'm a little upset that we were robbed of that. But Bucky still knows how to party. You know those guys are going to be up early drinking their spotted cow and having bratwursts out at the tailgate. So it should be a raucous crowd here. As you're kind of looking at this matchup here, Clinton, is there anything notable that kind of jumps out to you or keys that you're going to be kind of looking for in this game?
Well, I just wanted to say to the folks, guys, I took a literal page out of Ryan's book tonight, and I went with a composition book that might be from 1996 because my pages are yellow.
I love that.
It's pretty crunchy when I turn it, so I'll try not to annoy you all.
Some old newspaper clipping.
Yeah. You already alluded to one of my key points that I had written down with last week. Bama struggled for 3.5 quarters with USF. Put there as Pritchett was the tackle they put back in. Proctor, however, both of them are still questionable for this week, even though Pritchett played last week. Both of them are still questionable for this week. Proctor has not played yet this year. Yes, that is the Caden Proctor that was notable to Iowa and then back to Alabama. Alabama's offensive line was not great last week. 9 penalties committed, 2 of them negated TDs. They allowed 4 sacks. You better clean that up against a team like Wisconsin who's going to play defense, or you're going to be in a much tougher game in the fourth quarter that you're not going to hang 28 on late. My problem is Wisconsin is one of the least explosive teams in America. They are also one of the lowest teams in, air yards per attempt. So they're not very explosive. Ches Malusi is also only averaging 3.8 yards per carry. And then Tawee Walker is not much better at 4.4 yards per carry. So this offense does not move the ball in chunks. That could be a problem if you get behind in this game, which is very likely given that Jalen Milroe is an explosive playmaker. The other thing that the Badgers will who they will be without, is in the first half, Jake Chaney is suspended as their starting middle linebacker due to targeting in last week's game against the Dakota. So my other key is TBD needs to be TCB, and TCB as taking care of business and not turning the ball over. If he turns the ball over, Wisconsin's done. For my pick here, I am taking Alabama.
Damn, I thought I was gonna I thought I was going to get you on this one because I'm also on Bama on this one. I don't feel particularly great about this pick because, as you mentioned, the offensive line for Alabama, I think this could be a pretty big sticking point in the game, particularly early.
Mm-hmm.
If Wisconsin's able to get pressure on Jalen Milroe, we saw it a couple times last year. He was not always the best decision maker when under duress. He has good escapability, though, right? I mean, he's probably going to be the fastest guy on the field, one of the fastest guys on the field. So are they going to be able to contain him, keep him in the pocket, and are they going to be able to shut down Ryan Williams, who's been phenomenal this year? You know, a lot of perfectly justified love for Jeremiah Smith at Ohio State, but the freshman wide receiver at Alabama, who by the way reclassified, is only 17 years old.
17, yeah.
Dude can't even vote or buy cigarettes yet, but he can score a touchdown on you, and he scored a couple already this year. I think for me, the speed is going to kind of be the difference in this one. I like the explosive potential of this Alabama offense. If they do fall behind early, I have far more faith in them being able to come back from a deficit than I do this Wisconsin attack, which you touched on the numbers, man. We just have not seen it from them that yet. Mm-hmm. And either they're playing the greatest long game in history and they've saved everything for this week over the last 2 weeks and have shown nothing, or it's just kind of who they are, right? I mean, we're 2 games into the season. We're at the quarter point here. Like, when someone shows you who they are at a certain point, you kind of got to believe them. So I think the path to victory for Wisconsin, and this is try to get pressure on Jalen Milroe early, maybe create an early turnover, but kind of like we've seen from them the last couple of weeks, albeit on far lesser opponents, is controlling the clock, long scoring drives. You got to take advantage of those. Try to limit the possessions that Alabama has in this game. That would be their path to victory. Or even just a path to covering the spread, which, I mean, that doesn't matter for Luke Fickell. But if they limit the possessions and we're only getting like 7-8 possessions aside here, I think there's enough boom or bust potential on Alabama's offense that could make it a little bit interesting. But if Wisconsin's not able to draw this one out and you're letting Alabama get double-digit drives in this one, I don't think that this one is particularly close. And I hope that I'm wrong, because I would love to start the day off with a kick-ass game and see Camp Randall rocking for 4 quarters. But Alabama's looked good enough so far, and Wisconsin is not. So I'm with you on that one. I'm also on Bama -16 here.
I would love to see a great game to start the day, because I'm not going to get to see much on Saturday because I have a wedding to go to. So this is kind of I mean, I'll be peeking in on my phone during the reception, I'm sure. So this is Olivia's wedding. You worked with Olivia, right? Yeah. Okay. So her wedding is Saturday. Pick the Ohio State bye week, thankfully, or else I probably would not go. Not gonna lie, but yeah. So I at least get to see the noon game, and I'm unfortunate for the next couple games we're going to talk about, the Apple Cup and the Civil War. I'm going to be absent for, so I will be keeping as tight up to date on those scores as I can while I'm at the wedding.
Up next here, we got 3:30 on Fox. Oregon, also a 16-point favorite over in-state rival Oregon State. Over under also set at 50.5 here. Big game for the Ducks here, a potential get right spot for them. Are we calling Oregon State a Power 4 team still, or are they kind of in that? I don't know. What are we classifying them as? I don't think we can still call them Power 4, because they're kind of like a pseudo MAC independent team.
Yeah. Yeah, I would not call them Power 4.
Okay. So another Group of 5 matchup to start the year for Oregon. And they have not handled this particularly well so far. We've talked ad nauseum about the Idaho game, and we talked a lot on Sunday about the Boise State game. Fortunately for Oregon, there is no Ashton Jeanty on the Oregon State offense. However, they have run the ball pretty well so far this year. Any thoughts or intriguing matchups, things that I guess you won't be watching for because you won't be watching, but things that you'll be interested to see after the fact in this one, Clinton?
Yeah. Do you want to take this one at 16? I had it at 16.5 today on DraftKings.
Yeah, I got it at 16. We'll just keep it at 16.
Okay, 16. Not that that's going to sway my decision that much, but, well, you mentioned the run game. Jam Griffin and Anthony Hankerson. They're a tough running back duo. They have combined for 6 touchdowns and 475 yards so far. Now that is, you can't replicate Ashton Jeanty. He is one of a kind, right? But if you have a duo who can sit consistently and punch you in the mouth, and if Oregon can't control the line of scrimmage, they might have a dogfight on their hands.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Nico Taylor is a linebacker for Oregon State. He has 2 sacks on the season. You see our leading sack. The other 2 they have are 0 half sacks each for defensive linemen and a linebacker. But can he generate some pressure coming after Dylan Gabriel? What did they have last week? They gave up, we said 6, 7 sacks last week against Boise State.
Yeah,
so
right.
Does Oregon State come after them and try to pressure, force Gabriel to get rid of the ball earlier, force him into some bad turnovers, or just sack him? And that comes to Oregon's offensive line. You got to step up at some point. It has been the Cupid shuffle along that offensive line. It's a hot mess. You're going to have to make progress. This is week 3. We can't be giving up 7 sacks weekly. That's also going to take a toll on Dylan Gabriel. That's going to affect his play. He's not going to be as confident in his offensive line. And then my last point is, can Tez Johnson make another game-breaking play in the punt return category? A big touchdown last week. Is that something that maybe Oregon needs to rely on again this week to help pull themselves away?
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts for you, Ryan?
So I'm fascinated to see how Oregon State kind of calls this game, because it seems like the run is more their strength, and that avoiding the pass is going to kind of avoid what's been the best part of this Ducks defense so far. So our guy Dale Bliss tweeting out some stats. He's noting that so far this season, Oregon is leading the nation in pass breakups as well as leading the nation in quarterback pressures. So this is per PFF, which say what you want about their stats. I know that they're not always necessarily the most accurate, but per them, through 2 games, Derek Harmon has 13 quarterback pressures, which is tied for first with Colin Oliver of Oklahoma State for first in the nation. And Jordan Birch is tied for third with 3 other guys with 11. So they've done a pretty good job getting pressures on the quarterback this year. And it's kind of what we just talked about at this last game. If Oregon's able to get up early in this game, force Oregon State to be a little bit more off platform, throw the ball a little bit more, that's going to play into the Ducks' hands so far. I still think I have a few too many questions about this Ducks trench play to feel super comfortable about them. So I got Oregon State plus 16. I think Oregon wins. I think it's a close game for most. And it wouldn't surprise me if it's one of those where Oregon State scores late to kind of cover the spread, kind of a backdoor cover. But I don't know that we've seen enough explosiveness from the Ducks offense so far for me to sit here and feel confident that they're capable of covering a 3-score spread. I guess 2 scores and whatever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. The other piece I would say before I make my pick, Oregon State is fueled with hatred. So is Washington State.
Also, yes. Mm-hmm.
But they're on the side.
In Corvallis today. Corvallis.
Pure hatred because Oregon left. At least they kept the rivalry, right? Oregon left. They got left for dead, and now the Pac-2. They're going to be essentially relegated to Group of 5 contention now, even though the Pac-12 is working on making a comeback today. You are adding
six-pack.
Yeah,
the 6-pack.
You're adding nothing but Mountain West teams, so that is not going to contribute well to you getting back to Power 5 status.
No.
With that being said, I think Oregon has to improve at some point. And I think they do in this game, but I'm with you. Oregon State covers the 16.5, but Oregon wins.
We got to stop picking the same games, man. This is getting annoying.
We generally have similar thoughts, so I feel like that comes across about the same in our picks, right? We're going to think the same way on games, but that's such a big spread though for me. If Oregon had looked better. Obviously,
that's fair.
The spread might be bigger.
Yeah.
Maybe in the 20s. But they just not done anything to entice me to take them as almost a 3-score favorite. I mean, essentially they are, because you got to get to 17.
Yeah.
So I can't do that yet. I'm not there with Oregon.
That's fair. And Kirk is with us. He just chimed in on Twitter at KirkusCircus22. Oregon State gonna push Oregon and cover that plus 16 spread. So
Kirk, as you're listening, I am benching Kyron Drones this week, per your talk and our boys from CFF. And I'm going to start Will Rogers in this next game that we're about to talk about. So this would be the week that Kyron Drones goes off for 3 passing TDs and 2 rushing TDs, and then I lose again in fantasy because of it. But the play has been too inconsistent for me. Kirk was talking to me earlier today, actually, and he thinks Old Dominion's going to upset Virginia Tech. So,
oh wow. Listen, man, I get it. I feel that. I feel that in my bones with my my own problems, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But next, we have the Apple Cup. This game also kicking off at 3:30 p.m. on Peacock. Hope you all got your Jesus. Hope you all got your subscriptions for this one. It is being played at Lumen Field in Seattle, so not a home game for the Huskies, but still in Seattle. Washington sitting at a 4.5-point favorite, over under 55.5. Washington has been very, I almost want to say diplomatic so far. Nothing like super crazy explosive, but they've taken care of business. Been good, both running and passing the ball. So good, balanced Jetfish offense so far. On the other side of that coin, Washington State has been a little bit more explosive. Although I guess that first game against Portland State is kind of you can put a little bit of an asterisk next to that. But huge win against Texas Tech last weekend. That's an impressive win for them. Led by quarterback John Mateer, who is a true dual threat quarterback in every sense of the word. 20 of 36 for 467 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception, also 23 rushes for 252 yards, 2 scores on the ground, 525 rushing yards for the Cougars through 2 games. Clinton, what are you looking for in this one here?
Well, you took the stats right off my page. One more thing to add to Mateer. He is the number 1, or he's in first in quarterback rush yards in the NCAA. Right now. Kyle Williams is another one to add for Washington State. He has 3 of their receiving touchdowns that he has so far. He's not massive in the yardage production, but seems to be a pretty popular target from Mateer near the red zone or touchdowns. Will Rogers, 79% completion rate right now. Pretty dang good. He has 5 TDs, no picks. Obviously, Jackson, Hunter, and Boston starting to get it going a little bit now that we saw a Hunter sighting last week. And my boy Jonah Coleman is an absolute dude. 231 and 3 TDs. He is averaging 8.6 yards per carry. That is a ton.
That'll do.
If we look at the defenses, just quickly at points given up, Washington State's given up 46 so far. Washington has only given up 12. Now, you could argue Washington State had a tougher matchup last week, but Washington State also opened up with Portland State. So kind of evens out there. Still, Washington lost so much on that defense from the championship team last year. I want Ryan to answer this one first because I'm stuck in neutral. You are not going to sway my decision. I just need more time to think about it.
So I was kind of leaning Washington State on this one, and then I was scrolling through Twitter earlier, and one of the betting guys for VSiN I followed said his play of the week is Washington minus 4.5, and I did not read to see as to why that was his play, but I trust him, so I'm picking Washington minus 4.5. I don't have a good reason for this. I'm rolling with the guy who's got his own formula and his model. This is a toss up for me, man. Even if there's not bad value in picking Washington straight up just because of how explosive that offense is. Good God, that's really good. But I think Washington State's defense is a little bit more gettable. They were fine against Texas Tech last week. I don't know how good Texas Tech is, but I didn't pay much attention to that Portland State game, so I don't know the context of giving up 30 points to an FCS team, but still giving up 30 points to an FCS team has to ring some sort of alarm bell, and I think that Jed Fish as a coach should get a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt than Jake Dickert does, even though he's done a perfectly fine job there for sure. But Will Rogers has been good. I think they will continue to scheme up favorable passing situations for him. I think this is going to be a high-scoring affair, and I'm very much going to enjoy watching it. I'll probably have this one up on my iPad since I cannot get the Peacock and the multi-view on YouTube TV. Yeah. Actually, I probably will not be watching this one at all because I have my own bullshit to worry about at 3:30. So I probably won't watch this one at all. So scratch everything I just said. I will not be watching this game. But I'm excited to see how it plays out.
We're going to start 3 for 3 here because I'm going to take Washington -5. That's what we picked as a duo in our pick'em for the Twitter, and I'm going to ride with it.
I think that's probably why we're so like for like, is because we have to agree on those picks. And yeah, I don't know.
And then at least not half of those picks, but probably a quarter of them are from the Big Ten. And there goes James Cook again, just to spurn me some more, sitting on my bench, his second TD of the night. Gosh darn it.
Ryan's making some money tonight, boys and girls. Ryan's making some money tonight. You got Buffalo money. Buffalo money line.
That's a kick in the face.
Well, this is great because then I need Tua to get like 275 passing yards too.
Yeah, he's gonna have to pass a lot.
He's gonna have to throw the covered. Well, the issue is I also need Josh Allen to throw for like 240 passing yards, and he's probably not going to throw in the second half at all.
Well, you could if the Dolphins wake up and get it.
If they get a score right before the half, and I don't know who gets. I think they get the ball. I don't fucking know. I didn't start watching this game anyway. Okay, so going back to high noon, 12 o'clock on the Big Ten Network, Michigan -23 hosting Arkansas State at the Big House. Over under is 47.5. So if I'm doing this math correctly, they anticipate Arkansas State scoring like 13 points in this game, which I don't really see happening. I don't have any like notable. I don't know how much we're gonna. I mean, I guess this is it's an interesting matchup for Michigan because it's kind of in the what does the solid verbal call it, that letdown look ahead sandwich spot where you're right after the Texas game and right before the USC game, but Michigan played so bad last weekend on offense in the first 3 quarters of that game and not particularly great on defense. I'm sure it's been a tough week of practice for them trying to get some sort of an offensive identity established, and it probably has not been a great practice for the defense either. I'm sure Wink Martindale's been pretty tough on them for some of the plays that they gave up last week. But just kind of looking back on how that game transpired, I don't remember who tweets it out, but it's the it's like the advanced stats. Did we really get beat that bad? O-meter, where it's like looking at overall success rate. And Texas, like in terms of success rate, like Texas was not that much more efficient than Michigan in this game. And I get that. I mean, they were up big early, so there was probably a lot of taking the foot off the gas in the second half there. But like, if you think about that first half, you get the bad Davis Warren interception leads to a short field, and then you get the absolutely obnoxious Colston Loveland fumble right before halftime, which leads to another short field touchdown. So, and I get you can't just say, well, if you take those turnovers away, the entire game is different, because that's 2 big plays in the game, and that's not how football works. But it's not that it has me rethinking Michigan as a contender or anything like that, because I think there's still some pretty significant issues on this team that need to be worked out. But I think that any sort of doom and gloom talk about Michigan being bad is probably a little premature. Like, I mean, I'm still probably looking at them as an 8-win team, given I don't think that they're going to beat USC, probably not going to beat Oregon, nor do I think they'll beat Ohio State. But I do think they cover the spread relatively easily here. Interested to see if they're able to accomplish more in the passing game, seeing as they, even against Fresno State in week 1, they did not. Interested to see if there's more to an Alex Orji package in this game, if they actually let him throw the ball, try to put some stuff on tape for the Trojans. See if there's anything more in the running game, if they're able to get anyone more established out wide. Like, there's so much about this Michigan offense that's interesting, because it's going to be informative on how the rest of their season goes. So again, probably won't be paying too close of attention to this just because of what else is on in the 12 o'clock window, but we'll be fascinated to kind of see how this game plays out here, Clinton.
I think it's a big bounce back game for Michigan. I think they're going to have a field day running the ball. They're going to establish themselves at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. I think the defense is going to at least have 2 picks. That is not one of my bold predictions. I think that's a pretty safe prediction. I think they're going to get 2 picks. They're going to get in the sack chart this week. They had none last week against Quinn Ewers. Obviously, Arkansas State's offensive line is not going to be able to touch what Texas's offensive line can do. I think you see Graham and Grant make a huge impact. They were pretty much impactless last week in that game. And you're right. I think this is a chance. Again, Sherrone Moore is a young coach, but to this point, he has proved to be a good young coach. Let Alex Orji throw the ball. And don't do it when the game is out of hand, or don't just do it when the game is out of hand. You need to put him in early when it's 7-0 or even 0-0 or 14-3, whatever they get, and make it meaningful. Because if you put him out there in the second half and the game's out of hand and you let him throw it, USC doesn't have to respect that because they're going to know you don't have the balls to have him throw the ball on them when that game is meaningful. So put him in a meaningful position, let him throw the ball, get it on tape, and make them respect you. Michigan's going to blow Arkansas State out of the water. I don't think this game's even close. Give me Michigan.
We agree. 12 o'clock on Peacock, Central Michigan, traveling to. You scared me with that. I'm like, what are you doing? This Peacock. Traveling to Champaign, Illinois. Illinois, 18-point favorite over under 49.5. The Illini are 2-0 after a big win against Kansas last weekend. Big letdown spot for Illinois. However, Central Michigan is, how do you say, turnover prone? They threw 5 interceptions against FIU last week. I was looking at the box score of that game today. I'm like, wow, they got walloped. And then I'm looking at the statistical profile, and I'm like, they outgained FIU. What the hell happened? And then I saw 5 interceptions thrown. So,
Mr. Worldwide Stadium, man. There's no way they're winning there.
Mr. Worldwide Stadium. Yes.
305.
So I'm interested. So Tyler Jefferson, backup quarterback, got in the game for Central last week. I don't know if that's a thing that's going to happen, but against a Brett Bielema defense being turnover prone, not a great recipe for success.
No.
Good offensive line for Illinois. I think they'll have their way with Central Michigan in this one. Caden Fagan running the ball. Big, strong man. Bigger than probably most of Central Michigan's linebackers. Don't fact check me on that. I've not looked at Central Michigan's roster to confirm that.
I think it's a safe assumption.
The only pause that I have for this is it's a MAC team, and apparently the MAC is a super conference now. So
attack.
We'll see if they spring up and get another Power 5 upset this weekend, Power 4 upset, whatever we're calling it these days. But I got Illinois in this one. I think a little too much Caden Fagan in this one. I think Luke Altmaier has a good enough game, and Illinois' defense probably creates a couple turnovers to give their offense some short fields in this one.
They say great minds think alike, Ryan, and I feel like you literally just read off my notes off my page. Fagan's going to have a monster day. Dude is a monster just to begin with, and he's going to run all over CMU. Altmaier's not going to have to do much other than keep him respectful with some passing. I'm sure they'll hit some play action. Wouldn't surprise me if Fagan has a couple touchdowns. Don't you have him in fantasy?
I do.
Are you going to start him this week?
I think he is starting just because I have a couple guys on buys.
Yeah, what a weird feeling. We're in week 3 already, and we have numerous buys. I have like 4 guys on buys this week.
Yes, I got Smith from SMU's on a buy, Drew Aller's on a buy, Gadsden's on a buy, Penn State defense is on a buy. I mean, I guess there's a couple other guys I could start, but I feel like that's a pretty favorable matchup for him.
I think it's a very favorable matchup for him. I also had that their defense was going to get multiple turnovers. What did they pick Daniels for? 3 last week?
3 last week, yep.
Yeah, so and a team that's already turnover prone, they're going to feast on the Chippewas. Mm-hmm. The other note I had here, I have doubted Illinois too much. I have went against them both times this year. I am 0-2 because I have picked against the Illini. Hot damn, I'm taking the Illini in this one.
There you have it, Illinois fans. If your team loses this weekend, you have Clinton to blame for this because apparently his pick is the curse.
It is my fault.
3:30 on CBS. We have the bane of my existence, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, traveling to West Lafayette, Indiana, to take on the Purdue Boilermakers, the Spoilermakers. This line, early line last week was Notre Dame -15. It opened this week at -12. It is down to -9.5. A lot of intrigue around the quarterback situation for Notre Dame. This had to have broken on Tuesday because I was at work when I saw it. Reported by On3 on Tuesday that Notre Dame quarterback Riley Leonard suffered a labral tear in his non-throwing left shoulder in this game. There's been a lot of cloak and dagger about his status, they're not even admitting that he's hurt, which is kind of weird. I don't understand the gamesmanship because everyone watch. I said it on our show on Sunday. I listened back to see if I was taking crazy pills or not. Said it on Sunday. He looked hurt this entire second half of that game. I think like it's one of those things. Like there's been a lot of like weird talk about it. Like, oh, this is not throwing shoulder. He doesn't need that. Baker Mayfield had a torn labrum in his not throwing shoulder in 2021, and it
affected him greatly.
So bad that it almost ended his career.
Yep.
So
he got away from the Browns, and now he has a rejuvenated career.
And now he's good.
He's
got an 8-figure contract.
Yes.
So not only do you have a painful non-throwing shoulder in a quarterback, but you have a quarterback whose primary asset is his ability to run.
Mm-hmm.
And they did not run him at all in the second half against Northern Illinois. So my question remains, if you're not going to run Riley Leonard, why are you playing Riley Leonard? So it sounds like he's going to start. I don't know if it's like we're going to start him and see what happens type of thing and then pull him if he's ineffective, or if it's like if he gets hurt, or we're just saying that he's going to start and then we're going to start one of the other guys. I have no idea what's going on. I don't like the secrecy here lets me think that he's not going to play. So I don't really know what to make of this. And as we talked about on Sunday, when you lose to Northern Illinois, every game on your schedule becomes a losable game. So I'm fading Notre Dame until they give me a reason to not fade them. So you see it here. This is not a homer pick. This is these guys stink pick. Give me Purdue plus 10. I think Notre Dame probably finds a way to win, but it's going to be a close game because they have no downfield passing attack, and I have no reason to believe that'll be any different in this game. Again, it was not against a particularly great team, but Hudson Card was very, very impressive in Purdue's first game. They had a bye last week, so not a lot of Purdue data to go off of. Devin
will be well rested.
They will be well rested.
Also, Reggie Love, they got a duo there.
Yeah, man. It's one of those things that Notre Dame should be better on defense at slowing them down, but the defensive line has not been particularly great. I don't think Howard Cross is fully healthy. RJ Oben, the other transfer from Duke, has been ass this year. He got benched against Northern Illinois. He played 11 snaps. Josh Burnham, who came in and replaced him, had a ankle injury in the third quarter, I believe, and I don't think he's going to play this weekend. So RJ Oben's going to have to play, and he better play well. Don't know, man. If it would not shock me if the Irish lose this game outright, if I'm being completely honest with you. No faith. I don't have faith in them. Don't have faith in them anymore.
My big question mark obviously was Riley Leonard's health. We've talked about this. We're both physical therapists, and we read comments where people say it's his non-throwing arm. It'll never affect him. I'm like, keep dreaming, pal. Think about all that torque on your body when you have to turn to throw a ball. And Riley Leonard's known for his running ability. You're going to want to lead with a torn labrum shoulder?
Nope.
Hit somebody with? No, I don't care what they put wrap-wise or whatever they do to him. They can shoot him up all you want. He'll feel it after the game, so it doesn't matter. Are they going to have to lean on the defense and then Love and Price to get through this game? Do they go somewhere other than Leonard to get through this game? Do you feel confident enough to go somewhere other than Leonard to win this game, given what happened last week? I don't know. On the Purdue side, you got to sustain drives. You got to wear out Notre Dame's defense, make it a game in the fourth quarter by working the clock, and do not turn the ball over. If you don't turn the ball over, you could be in this game in the fourth quarter and give the Irish a fight. This is the battle of the gold teams here. We're going to get 2 gold helmets in this game. It's pretty awesome. I like Purdue to cover. Notre Dame wins. But I think it's going to give Ryan another stroke moment, but Notre Dame pulls this one out.
What is dead can never die, Clinton. Notable this game, the total opened at 45.5, and it's gotten bet up to 47.5, which seems weird because
that more confidence in that Purdue's going to start scoring.
No, I don't know who. It's confident someone's going to start scoring, but I think the winning score in this game is going to be someone with 24 points. So yeah, that should be your lock of the week, is bet the under in this game if you can get it at 47. That's not my lock of the week. That's just free betting advice. You're welcome. You're welcome. In fact, I might go bet that right now. I got Purdue at plus 11 in real money. So
nice.
That's money. My money's where my mouth is, people. I got the ND on the chest, but I'm fading these motherfuckers until they show me something here. We have 3:30 Big Ten Network Prairie View versus Michigan State. There is no line for this game presently. It'll probably come out tomorrow morning, so we're not going to pick this right now. We'll tweet that out in the morning when it comes out. Anything notable from this game, Clinton? Not really.
Well,
maybe.
No, I don't have anything because it's an FCS matchup. I expect Michigan State to spank them. Unless this spread is like 40-50, I'm taking Michigan State. I think they're going to. Childs and Marsh got it rolling really well last week, and I expect that to continue this week. I think Michigan State's going to put on a show for the home crowd.
I'm just fascinated to see if we get less of the full Aiden Childs experience and more of just Aiden Childs' athletic quarterback moving the football and not 3 interceptions again. So there's
5 on the year. He had 2 week 1 and 3 last year.
3 last week. Yep. But he's got a number 1 target now. The freshman Nick Marsh, you mentioned him.
More freshmen, man. The freshmen in this class are phenomenal.
Interesting.
What a talented class on the whole for the whole NCAA this year.
Yeah, man. So interested to see if did someone pick him up in our fantasy league. If not, I'm going to do it.
Marsh?
Right now.
Yeah. I don't know. We still have to go through waivers.
No, he doesn't.
I think there's a second set of waivers, isn't there? It'll roll on Saturday morning.
Nope. I don't know who to drop though. That's the only problem. Am I going to go tight endless this week and drop Mitchell Evans, Clinton?
I don't know.
I'm going to drop Singleton.
That certainly hasn't played out well, and I had my eye all over Mitchell Evans, and I'm glad I didn't take him. However, Luke Lachey put up a goose egg last week, so
that's the other thing for Notre Dame too is they've been kind of weaning him back into full health. I think he played 11 snaps against A&M and 25 last week. They need him to play 40 plus in this game because they need someone over the middle who can actually get open. That the quarterback, your one read quarterback who's allegedly going to start with a torn labrum is going to need. Next, we have 3:30 also on the Big Ten Network. There's a ton of Big Ten Network games on this team, which is
means it's crap.
Indicative of the slate here. We have the Nevada Wolfpack traveling to the Twin Cities, taking on Minnesota, going with the banana look, yellow pants, yellow jerseys, yellow helmet. It is clean. It is fresh. I love it. Minnesota 17.5 point favorite in this one, over under at 43.5. Clinton, the Wolfpack coming into the season was thought to be among the worst teams in FBS, but they have been spunky so far. They nearly upset SMU. I think they beat Troy, but Troy kind of stinks.
Troy's 0-2.
Yes. Shout out Jared Parker. Speaking of crappy Notre Dame offenses, any revelatory thoughts, feelings on this one?
Yeah, you forgot to mention that Nevada just lost to Georgia Southern last week. So
that's right.
I'm smashing Minnesota 17.5. Not Daniel Jackson. I said Daniel Jackson. Darius Taylor is back. Daniel Jackson's also there, but Darius Taylor is back. I think he gets himself a 100-yard rushing game. I think Brosmer continues to kind of settle in, get rhythm. This is not an FCS opponent, but Nevada kind of showed their spunk week 1, so I think they might be kind of level of FCS opponent this week, and I think Minnesota continues to roll and look good.
I think we need to stop picking the same because we have picked every game the same so far.
Here's the other caveat for us. It's a bunch of trash games. Are we going to be that different?
Nah, that's fair. I
think in another week or two, when we start getting multiple Big Ten games in a week, I think we're going to be very different because we may feel
that's fair.
A complete odds on what's going to happen.
So the Georgia Southern team that beat Nevada last weekend, Nevada scored 17 points on them the week after Georgia Southern gave up 56 to Boise State, which there's no shame in that because
Genty is a man.
The running back for Boise State is pretty good. Darius Taylor's also pretty good. So I think he has a big game. We talked about this last week, but Max Brosmer does very well against FCS teams. So not much of a step up here. I think this is a good get-right opportunity for the Minnesota offense after they had a pretty good second, third, and fourth quarter last week. I got the Gophers, and I think they might hit the over-under of this game on their own.
Yeah.
4 o'clock, we have the aforementioned Troy Trojans traveling to Iowa City taking on Iowa. Iowa, a 21.5-point favorite after their collapse against Iowa State last weekend. Over under at 38.5. Death taxes in an Iowa over under total under 40. Clinton. I have
lock of the week.
Lock of the week.
Yeah.
Iowa minus 21.5. I don't think Troy is scoring in this game.
So I did get feedback on our lock of the week sound. Adam, our avid listener, he did not hear it. I heard it when I listened back through the show because I knew to look for it.
Oh, so, I mean, it is pretty quick.
So we'll see if he catches it this week. Adam, let me know tomorrow.
So I'm doing something new for my locks of the week, and now that I'm doing this, I'm probably going to lose them, but we're starting with $20. We're putting $20 on the lock of the week, which
like real money
in my DraftKings account. At minus 110, probably I got this at that'll pay about $38.50 back. If the lock of the week hits, we are taking that $38.50 and we're putting it on next week's lock of the week. We're going to see if we can double this money up for the rest of the year. We're going to do it.
Till he gets a goose egg, and Iowa actually loses this game to Troy.
I was going to say, it's now that I'm putting this into the universe, we're going to freaking lose this week.
Yep. Given that all your lock of the weeks have to come from the teams we cover, so you might be in big doo-doo here.
Listen, man. Listen. There's value. I think there's more betting value in these small games because people don't pay attention to them as much. And if you follow the right people who have their own models and they pour a lot of work into them, you can find some inefficiencies in these smaller games. I think there was like 8 straight weeks last year I made money betting Bowling Green because they were a covering machine.
Nice.
So hop on the train. Iowa this week. Ride the lock of the week. Let's make some money. And if you lose your money, I'm sorry.
Well, Iowa was my lock of the week last week, and they lost, so I'm going to avoid that. However, I think they bounce back, and they bounce back big. I am taking Iowa in this game, especially given that Nevada beat Troy, and then Nevada lost to Georgia Southern. I have a bold prediction for this game, but we will wait till the end of the show, and I will give you that. But I want to see what Cade McNamara can do. If Cade McNamara cannot throw for over 100 yards against Troy, or look more efficient,
we might have
or
some
deliver
problems.
the ball to Luke Lachey. I'm going to go personally suggest to Kirk Ferentz that Brendan Sullivan starts next week.
Call into the coach's show next week.
I mean,
Clinton from Hilliard.
Hilliard, Plain City.
Clinton from Plain City. That sounds even funnier.
We're getting closer and closer to Iowa's what was perceived to be toughest matchup of the season before they lost to Iowa State, and that is Ohio State. If McNamara or any quarterback in general can't perform better than what McNamara just did against Iowa State, Iowa's going to get housed by Ohio State. It's going to be bad. I don't care how good your defense is. They're going to run you over. You have to get some quarterback production. I think they get something this week, whether it's McNamara or whether it's Sullivan. I think they get production, but I am taking Iowa.
To the Nightcaps, 7:30 Big Ten Network, Northern Iowa taking on Nebraska. The Cornhuskers coming off their big win over Colorado. Once again, another FCS versus FBS matchup. Therefore, we do not have
no
betting line on this yet, so we're not picking this one yet, Clinton. I don't necessarily have a bold prediction surrounding this game, but it's kind of this game adjacent. Northern Iowa have played and beaten Valparaiso, which I know exactly where that is because I went on a college visit there once in Northwest Indiana between Chicago and South Bend. Fun fact, in case you didn't know. The Crusaders. And they beat St. Thomas in Minnesota, a school I also know because they're in the same hockey conference as Bowling Green now. Their hockey coach is a nutcase. I watched him get ejected from a game when he was Miami's head coach in 2010 during a line brawl. Fun fact. Y'all are learning so much about me tonight. So I don't know if Northern Iowa is particularly great, but I do wonder if there's any letdown from Nebraska after a very, very emotional win last week. Yeah. Not counting on it, but I'm curious to see. I think that overall night slate in this week is not great. I don't know that there's a particularly great night game, so I might.
Perfect time to be at a wedding and not pay attention.
There you go, man. It is the Solid Verbals window of opportunity, so good for you. Good for you.
I do not think Raiola and company have a letdown this week. Iowa, again, will most likely take Nebraska to cover this game, depending on that it's not some asinine 50-point spread, but I will probably lean Nebraska.
Also at 7:30 on NBC, the Hoosiers traveling west.
The game I've been waiting on.
The Rose Bowl. Indiana, you said on Sunday, Clinton, Indiana should be favored in this game, and they are a 3-point favorite over UCLA, over under set at 45.5. I'm going to let you cook here. What are you looking for in this one?
Cignetti has proven through 2 weeks, even though their competition has not been elite, he gets his players ready. One of the biggest takeaways I've found with this team, they tackle really well. Really well. Curtis Rourke got it rolling in a big way last week. Again, I know it's against a team that hasn't won in 26 tries, but there's something to be said for momentum, right? Your momentum, you're heading in off your best performance, heading into your biggest game of the year thus far, your first Big Ten game for Kurt Cignetti. Justice Ellison also on a roll, coming off a heater for both the quarterback and running backs. And how can I pick against IU when Elijah Surratt revealed his nickname to be Waffle House because he's open 24/7?
That's elite. That's an elite nickname.
I watched the video on that the other day, and I'm like, this is superstar status nickname there. Hopefully, I don't know. I have some weird thoughts about Waffle Houses. But anyways, IU -3, right? Is that what we got them at?
-3.
I'm giving them the kiss of death here, but Indiana is my lock of the week over UCLA. Lock it up.
Lock it up.
I may have just caused Indiana to lose this game, but
that we're gonna have to have a bonus episode one day where you tell us your weird Waffle House stories. I am with you. I like Indiana on this, but I have no football related reasons to feel kind of squeamish about this. I'm feeling squeamish about this because of how much juice there seems to be on Indiana. It seems kind of like the hype train's coming to an end. I have no reason to think that. It's just like this weird feeling I'm having where it's like the vibes in Bloomington are so good and everyone's so hyped up for this game and for this program right now that it just feels like something bad's about to happen. And maybe that's me just projecting. That's me projecting my own ill-begotten football feelings on somebody else. But not a lot of football-related data on UCLA. They had a bye week last week, but the last time we saw them, they looked like cheeks against Hawaii. So I don't think that they're a particularly good team, and it sounds like there's going to be a lot of crimson and cream in the Rose
I'd be
Bowl
willing to
weekend.
bet there's more crimson and cream than there is UCLA fans there.
Yes, so I will be tuned into this game. I'm excited to watch Curtis Rourke in prime time. That's going to be exciting.
What time did you say this one was? 7:30?
7:30.
Okay.
Sucks to be you.
My hope is I'll probably be home by like 9:30. My parents are staying, so I want to make sure the kids are asleep and they're not up too late. So I will be home at least to catch the second half of that, I think. And hopefully it's a game. Hopefully Indiana pulls away late and I get to see it, but hopefully it's a game.
Also at 7:30, Big Ten Network, Eastern Illinois.
Another BTN.
Playing against Northwestern. Another game that we don't have a line for, but we have a new starting quarterback in Evanston, Clinton. Jack Lausch. Jake Lausch.
I thought it was Jake. It's Jake.
Jake Lausch. The former Notre Dame baseball commit, Jake Lausch.
Okay, there you go.
Who's going to walk onto the football team before I think he got a scholarship to go to Northwestern, or maybe he walked
for him.
I don't know. Interested to see how he does. It should be a pretty soft landing spot for him in this game. Hopefully for Northwestern's sake, I guess. Eastern Illinois got spanked by Illinois week 1, and then they eked out a win against Indiana State last week. The same Indiana State team that got destroyed by Purdue in week 1. We have a chat. Who's chatting? Jake Lausch? Don't call me. Don't yell at me. Jumping on the under for Iowa because Ryan is right. Troy ain't scoring in Iowa, won't score 35. I'm with you on that one. Any notable things from this one, Clinton, other than the new quarterback for Northwestern? Their offense kind of looked not particularly great so far. So interested to see
Yeah.
if the quarterback can kickstart them.
Lausch was the one that was presumptive favorite, right? Until Wright got there.
I
That was a
believe
back-to-back
that
Wright.
is
Didn't mean that.
correct.
Yeah. I think Northwestern's
Right.
defense is going to hold Eastern Illinois to a goose egg. No points.
I can see
And I
that.
think Cam Porter is too much on the ground. He's a good running back. I think it's his first start. They might lean on Porter early, get himself a couple TDs, have him a good day. Let's see what Lausch can do. I mean, if he's the correct hit to avoid using Wright again, the correct hit for this Northwestern team, that could set him up for 7-8 wins this year.
True that.
Again, likely, as long as it's not some crazy number, I'm probably going to take Northwestern here.
And finally, 8 p.m. on the ACC network. No more Big Ten network, Clinton. We got the ACC network. We're getting some more. We're getting some more network action.
We get some ESPN bias here.
Yeah, right. Maryland at Virginia. Maryland a 2.5-point favorite. Over under at 57.5. Maryland coming off of a disappointing loss to Michigan State last weekend in a game that nobody seemingly wanted to win because they kept turning the ball over. Virginia, on the other hand, is 2-0 after beating Richmond in week 1 and a come-from-behind victory against Wake Forest, 14 fourth-quarter points last week, Clinton. I am kind of fascinated low-key by this game. I think it's going to be a lot of fun because Virginia's defense kind of stinks. Hank Bachmeier carved them up last weekend, 403 passing yards.
However, it's not like Maryland's defense is anything to write home about.
Also true, because Anthony Calandria is very Aiden Childs-like in the sense that he is fun, he is explosive, he is quick on the ground, and you never know what you're going to get from him. You're either going to get some magic or a mind-numbing turnover. Any thoughts, feelings on this game, Clinton?
That was my main note at the top, that Maryland was going to struggle to defend Calandria here. He's 75.8% completion percentage on the season, but I looked up Billy Edwards as well. I forget the number, but he is also like mid-70s. So good little QB battle here. I think what becomes too much of a problem, though, for UVA and their crummy defense is the Billy Edwards to the Ty Felton connection. I think is what's going to, not the leave out Roman Himby here, but I think Edwards to Felton is what's going to seal the deal for this one. But I did note this. Sorry, I was reading that. Maryland needs to get Prather, Wade, and Smith a little more involved in the offense. We can't just rely on Felton every single game to make all your big plays and your big catches. So diversify the passing game a little bit, spread out your investments. But I still think Felton cooks UVA's defense. And I had this line at -2.5. What did you have us at?
Same.
Okay. I'm taking Maryland, -2.5.
Yes, Donovan Green for Wake Forest last weekend had 11 catches for 166 yards. So this could be a solid overplay in this one.
Big day for Felton.
I'm going to disagree with you on this one. I'm going Virginia. I think the Anthony Calandria experience shocks Maryland in this one. We had to be different at some point.
We had something different.
I almost
went Virginia.
I was going to go opposite whatever you picked, but I did star Virginia. I did star Virginia beforehand.
Yep, I had them marked earlier, and then I crossed them out.
We disagree. Finally,
is that the only one we disagree on?
Yeah, we might disagree on some of the other, some of the 3 FCS ones when the lines come out. But yeah, that was not a very eventful.
That's all right.
There was not a lot of hot takery on this episode.
This is why I wanted to include bold predictions at the end today, because the matchups were not as enticing this week, and we're not going to do, obviously, our stock up, stock down things as many times. We haven't done a bold prediction since, when did we do bold predictions? June?
I don't remember.
It's been a while. So we're due for a bold prediction. And you can kind of do a few bold predictions weekly, right? It's something small that pertains to the new games every week.
Sure.
So that's why I kind of, as the matchups weren't as enticing this week, wanted to throw something a little extra fun in.
My first bold prediction is that Steve Angeli plays at quarterback for Notre Dame this weekend and ends up being the quarterback of record.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't know if he's going to start, but I think he is going to play a significant role.
Okay. I like that. That's a good bold P.
This is going to end up being a 2018 situation for Notre Dame when they started the season with Brandon Wimbush and he beat Michigan and then looked like ass in week 2 against Ball State. And in week 3, they benched him for Ian Book. And then he threw like 35 touchdown passes in 10 games.
Yep.
And Notre Dame makes the playoff at 11-1, everyone. Just kidding.
At 9-3. No, I'm just kidding.
Brother, man, would not surprise me.
My first bold P, I'm going to go back to the Michigan game. I said they were going to bounce back, and they're going to literally run over Arkansas State. Michigan will rush. I initially put 200 yards. That's not the bold P. We're getting real bold. Michigan's going to rush for over 300 yards in this game. Don't know how they're going to shake that out, but then I also are going to piggyback off your idea where Angeli overtakes for Leonard. Khalil Maulings continues to roll in the Blake Corum role, and we start to see Edwards get faded on Michigan's running back. Maulings is going to be the new RB1 after this week.
Wow. Donovan Edwards, 4-game redshirt and transfer someone else for year 5?
I mean, I guess he could, but I think the writing's on the wall for him, right? Like, spade's a spade, or leopards don't change their spots, whatever reference you want to give it.
He has not been great this year. We were talking about that at work today, and we're just like, you know what? He's not really been that good.
And I thought that was hilarious when we had all the preseason talk about Big Ten running backs. And everyone's like, why isn't one saying Donovan Edwards? They're saying Penn State and Ohio State. I'm like, well, here's your example through 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Bingo.
This is exactly why we didn't say it.
Bold prediction number 2. There will be one FCS upset in this slate of 3 games. It will either be Prairie View over Michigan State, Northern Iowa over Nebraska, or Eastern Illinois over Northwestern. I don't know which one, but one of those teams will win.
Well, it's your bold P, so let's get a little more bolder P. Which one do you think's most likely? You don't have to pick one, but what do you think would be more likely?
I mean, most likely is going to be Eastern Illinois over Northwestern because Northwestern doesn't have an offense. But like I said, I'm interested to see if Nebraska has a letdown this weekend, and if they that'd be bad. Oh, that'd be brutal.
That would be the time we should ask
Rob to come back on the show.
If he could come on us, or we could come on his show.
I think he would drop
their opinions.
I think he'd F-bomb us if we asked him that.
Yeah, I think he probably would. We'd get some bad juju our way.
Clinton, if Northern Iowa beat Nebraska, it would be very much like beating Texas A&M to open your season and then losing to Northern Illinois the next weekend.
Yep.
I told you it's my running joke for the rest of the season until they lose to Miami in 2 weeks, and then you will never see me again. I will be gone. I will become dust. Did you give your second one, or did I just totally bogart that segment there?
We kept rolling. I'm taking a peek. I'm thinking. I have some, but I was wondering if I wanted to create a new one. I think I'm going to go back to an FCS game that you were just talking about. Aiden Childs to Nick Marsh for 3 passing touchdowns this week. And over 200 yards.
So I should put
between the two.
I should put my newly acquired Nick Marsh in my starting lineup then, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Because I'm going to assume if you're getting 3 TDs, we're not talking 10-yard TDs in the red zone. I think these are big play TDs. So Marsh is going to have over 200 yards and 3 TDs.
Do I want to start him over Kyle Williams? How about over?
And then your second bold prediction is going to come true, and Prairie View's going to beat Michigan State, and he's not going to do anything.
I mean, that's the folly of the freshman receiver, Clinton. They one game's good, one game's not so good.
It happens.
My last bold prediction, and maybe it's not a bold prediction because we've seen this from a couple of these quarterbacks so far this year, but one quarterback not named Dylan Gabriel in the Big Ten will throw for over 300 yards this weekend.
And I know who that is.
Honestly, I don't think it's going to be Aiden Childs because I think they're going to be up by like 35 at halftime, and he's going to have like 250 yards in the first half, and then they're just going to not play him in the second half.
That's
like that's
my last bold P.
That's the weird thing about these playing guys in these FBS versus FCS games, because it was when we were doing our fantasy episode. I think it wasn't Nate, it was Jared that said it. He was like, "There's no one on Georgia who's playable because there's always up by so much in the first half that they just run the clock in the second half."
Yep.
You need a bad defense. Anyway,
I am going to the Indiana UCLA game.
Okay.
This is my lock of the week and why I'm confident.
Mm-hmm.
You just said, what was your next bold P? Repeat it, your last one.
A non-Dylan Gabriel quarterback in the Big Ten will throw for at least 300 yards.
That's because it's going to be Curtis Rourke.
Let's go.
Over
Go
300
Cats.
yards passing, repping the OU Bobcats for my last bold P.
Yeah,
Curtis
you got
Rourke.
the what's going on there? You got the T-shirt on, but you're not in the flag anymore. You got that penis cannon in the back there.
The Blue Jackets. Well, I changed my angle tonight so I could look at football. When I did it the other night and I was directly in front of the screen, it looked like I was at a rave. All the colors kept bouncing off my face.
Just be like me. You just look over your shoulder
Turn.
and watch the football game.
Well, now you're going to get neck issues. You're going to get torticollis because you only turn your head to the
torticollis.
You guys go look that up if you don't know what that means. Yes, Curtis Rourke, over 300 yards passing against UCLA.
No lie.
Big Ten debut.
I had a patient say to me once, I don't remember what she was talking about. She's something about like turning her head too much one way. She's like, if I keep turning my head only to this one side, am I going to get a torticollis? I'm like, huh? He's like, yeah, can I get that? I'm like, no, you cannot.
Yes. First of all, you're not a baby, and I've not seen many people have that position unless they've had some type of stroke or neurological disorder.
If you decide to lay like that for the next 3 weeks, then you have something to worry about. However,
don't move.
I think if you keep looking over your left shoulder, you'll be fine.
Yes, you'll be okay.
You made it to the end of the episode, everyone. Thanks for tuning in tonight. If you are still with us, God bless you. You are a true sicko because we are just spewing nonsense now. As always, you can find us on your podcast feed in the morning if you want to listen to us again or if you tuned in late tonight. Apple, Spotify, drop a like, drop a review. It would be much appreciated. Looking forward to another great slate. Well, it's not a great slate of weekends. I'm looking forward to football.
Slate.
I'm looking
forward to
football. It could be
an upset Saturday.
Okay, the fun part of this weekend is the Friday night games, and I have hockey tomorrow night, so I'm going to miss half of them.
Man,
so I'm kind of annoyed about
the game tomorrow night. This isn't our Big Ten, but I'm really stoked for Arizona, Kansas State. I'm really looking forward to that game.
That's going to be fun.
And then, guys, we actually have another guest that's going to come on with us on Monday. So we'll do our Sunday show as normal. We have another guest that's supposed to join us on Mondays, Jeffrey the Greek from the Eyes on Big podcast. Hit us up and asked if he wanted to come talk some Big Ten ball with us. So it'll probably be something, I would assume, generally similar to what we did with Ben this past week, kind of get his vibes now that we're 3 weeks through the season, his thoughts to close out week 3, and then kind of looking ahead to week 4 and where he thinks they are. And I believe Jeff tends to go more towards Iowa, so we can get some good Iowa insight from him on kind of how the team's going and maybe if there's going to be a quarterback shuffle.
We will find out. As always, for Clinton, I am Ryan. Thanks for tuning in again tonight. We will see you on the other side Sunday night, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great weekend.
See ya.